The Infowise alert functionality provides a lot of flexibility that you just don't get with the SharePoint out of the box email alert function. So we'll just take a look at the general sections and explain from a high level how this is approached. When you're in a list and you access the ribbon menu, you'll see the add alert icon right next to the SharePoint icon. So the Infowise functionality is in the one that has the orange bell on it. When you click on that icon, it brings up a pop-up window that has each of the configuration sections available for alerts. In your existing alert section, by default, it's going to show all the alerts which you have created. You can also access other alerts which have been shared by other users by hitting the drop-down menu. Now, depending on how many solutions you create in SharePoint using Infowise tools, you can eventually accumulate a very large amount of alerts. I have, for example, over 140 of these for one particular customer. So the naming of the alerts becomes important. I would suggest using the name of the list as the prefix, followed by a dash, and then the name of the particular alert which you're creating. In the general settings section, normally this is going to be the list that you're coming from. Always be sure when you're working on configuration of an alert that the list title matches the list that you're working on. The fields that show up in the rules below are tied to this. So this is pre-populated so long as you've come to the alert from the appropriate list. The recipient section can be filled out in numerous ways. You can use settings to get this value from the fields. You can look it up in SharePoint. And then you have the options you would expect in email. You can have the carbon copy or blind carbon copy. And then you can configure other settings such as the from section as well. The what to send is the area in which you're going to be able to do configuration to control when this alert may or may not be triggered. So at a basic level, this is very much like the smart actions that we'd set up. So you can control whether it happens on add, edit, or delete. You just check and uncheck those boxes. So that's the simplest filter in terms of controlling when the alert comes out. However, you can also add in conditions that work the same way as smart actions and set particular rules so that the email would go out based on changing field values. Normally in the when to send, you would use the immediately and always, but you have options, for example, to have an email digest mode. So you can use the summary mode function if you need to, or you could control it so that these emails wouldn't go out, for example, until the end of the day. Configured independently from the email alerts are the templates. So when you create an alert rule, you will match it up to these email templates. And this section is important because you really have a lot of flexibility to polish the content of the email and make it look a lot more attractive than, say, just have a couple sentences and a link to the list record. So using the visual editor tool, you can, for example, do custom formatting on the content. You can do highlighting, insert tables, and include the values for the field, both in the subject and in the body. So there's a lot of ways that you can really polish the template that is matched to the rule. And then the advanced settings allow you a few more advanced options. You can also enable and disable your rule by checking and unchecking the operational checkbox there. So there's a lot of functionality packed into the Infowise alerts, and the best way to realize the benefits of this section is to experiment and try different configurations just to look at results.